Daniel, a man of routine, found solace in the predictability of his life. He worked as a librarian, surrounded by the comforting silence of books. His apartment, small but cozy, held the familiar scent of old paper and brewed coffee. One rainy Tuesday, while sorting through a box of donated books, a glint of metal caught his eye. Tucked between the pages of a worn, leather-bound journal was a small, ornate key. It was unlike any key he had ever seen. It was made of a dark, unfamiliar metal. Intricate carvings spiraled along its shaft, hinting at an ancient origin. He picked it up, the cool metal sending a shiver down his spine. An inexplicable pull drew him to it. Daniel tried the key on every lock in the library, but none yielded. Disappointed, he almost discarded it, but something held him back. He felt compelled to keep it, drawn to its mysterious allure. He slipped the key into his pocket, a silent promise to unravel its secrets. Back in his apartment, the key seemed to pulse with a faint energy. He examined it under the lamplight. The carvings seemed to shift and writhe. He felt a strange dizziness. He reached out to touch the key again, and the world around him dissolved. Daniel stumbled into a world bathed in an ethereal twilight. The air hung heavy with the scent of unfamiliar blossoms. The sky swirled with colors he couldn't name. He found himself standing before a towering archway, pulsating with the same energy as the key. He had no memory of how he got there. He instinctively knew that this was where the key belonged. He reached out, his hand trembling, and inserted the key into the archway's lock. The archway shimmered, then opened, revealing a swirling vortex of light. He hesitated for a moment, fear battling with curiosity. Taking a deep breath, Daniel stepped through the archway. He found himself in a city that seemed both familiar and alien. Buildings twisted towards the sky, defying gravity. Strange creatures roamed the streets, their eyes glowing in the dim light. He felt a sense of wonder mixed with unease. He looked back at the archway, but it was gone. Panic began to set in. He was alone in a strange world, with no way back. He clutched the key in his hand, its cold metal offering little comfort. He started to walk, hoping to find someone, anyone, who could help him. Days blurred into weeks as Daniel explored this new reality. He learned to navigate its twisting streets and communicate with its strange inhabitants. He discovered that the city was called Ethel, a place beyond human comprehension. He began to adapt, to survive. But with each passing day, his memories of his old life began to fade. The familiar scent of his apartment, the comforting silence of the library, the taste of his morning coffee, all became hazy, distant echoes. He tried to cling to these memories, but they slipped through his fingers like sand. He started to keep a journal, scribbling down everything he could remember about his past. His name, his job, his city, all meticulously recorded, as if afraid they would vanish completely. He feared he was losing himself, piece by piece. The key remained his only connection to his former life. He held onto it tightly, a physical reminder of a world he might never see again. He knew he had to find a way back before his past disappeared entirely. Driven by a desperate longing for home, Daniel sought out the archway. He followed rumors and whispers, traversing the strange landscapes of Ethel. He encountered beings of immense power and creatures of unimaginable horror. He faced trials that tested his courage and his sanity. Finally, after months of searching, he found it. The archway stood hidden in a secluded grove, pulsating with the same ethereal light. He recognized it instantly, a beacon of hope in this alien world. He rushed towards it, his heart pounding in his chest. He inserted the key, and the archway opened, revealing the swirling vortex. He didn't hesitate this time. He stepped through, desperate to return to the world he was slowly forgetting. He emerged back in the familiar twilight, but something felt different. The air smelled different, less vibrant. The colors of the sky seemed muted, less fantastical. He felt a sense of unease, a premonition that something was wrong. He looked around, searching for a familiar landmark, but nothing seemed quite right. Section 5. Whispers of Doubt. Daniel found himself in a city that resembled his own, but with subtle, unsettling differences. Streets were unfamiliar, buildings were misplaced, and the people he passed seemed to look through him, as if he didn't exist. He felt like a ghost in his own life. He went to his apartment building, but his apartment was gone, replaced by a tailor shop. He went to the library, but it was a vacant lot, overgrown with weeds. He started to question his memory, wondering if he had ever truly lived the life he remembered. He met people who vaguely resembled his friends and family, but they didn't recognize him. They spoke of events he had no memory of, and they looked at him with pity and confusion. He felt like he was losing his grip on reality. Doubt gnawed at his mind. Was his past a lie? Was the world he remembered a figment of his imagination? The key felt heavier in his hand, a symbol of his fractured reality. He knew he had to cross again to find the truth, whatever it might be. Section 6. The third passage. The archway was easier to find this time. It seemed to be calling him, beckoning him back to Ethel. He stepped through, the familiar twilight embracing him like a shroud. He felt a strange sense of comfort in this alien world, a sense of belonging he no longer felt in his own. Ethel seemed more vibrant than before, the colors more vivid, the air more intoxicating. He walked through the city and the strange creatures greeted him like an old friend. He felt a pang of sadness for the life he was leaving behind, but also a sense of liberation. He realized that with each crossing he was losing more than just memories. He was losing his connection to his old world, his sense of self. He was becoming a part of Ethel, a creature of twilight and dreams. He wondered if there was any way back. He found the archway again, waiting for him. He hesitated before inserting the key. He knew that crossing back might erase the last vestiges of his past, but he also knew that he couldn't stay in Ethel forever. He had to find out the truth, even if it broke him. Section 7. A crumbling reality. Daniel stepped back into a world that was even more distorted than before. The streets were twisted and broken, the buildings crumbling into dust. The sky was a swirling vortex of gray, and the air was thick with the smell of decay. He felt like he was walking through a dying dream. He tried to find his apartment, his library, his city, but they were gone, replaced by ruins and shadows. He met people who were like phantoms, their faces blurred, their voices whispers. They spoke of a world that had never existed, a world he had only imagined. He started to question his sanity. Was he dreaming? Was he dead? Was the world he remembered a fantasy, a desperate attempt to escape a reality he couldn't bear? The key felt cold and heavy in his hand, a reminder of his failing memory. He looked for the archway, but it was gone. He was trapped in a world that was falling apart, a world that might never have been real. He felt a sense of despair, a crushing weight of loneliness. He was alone, lost in the ruins of his own mind. Section 8. Trapped. Days turned into weeks, and the world continued to crumble around Daniel. He wandered through the ruins, a ghost in a ghost world. He talked to the phantoms, trying to piece together the fragments of his shattered memory. He searched for a way out, a way back to any reality, even Ethel. He started to forget his own name, his own face. He looked in the reflections of broken windows, but saw only a stranger staring back. He felt like he was dissolving, fading into the nothingness that surrounded him. He clutched the key, the only tangible object in this crumbling world. He began to believe that the phantoms were right, that the world he remembered was a fabrication, a story he told himself to escape the pain of his true reality. He started to accept his fate, to embrace the nothingness. He was trapped, lost forever. But even in the depths of despair, a sliver of hope remained. A faint memory, a flicker of light in the darkness. He remembered the key, the archway, the twilight world of Ethel. He knew that if he could just find the archway, he could escape, even if it meant losing himself completely. Section 9. The Revelation. One day, as Daniel wandered through the ruins, he stumbled upon a hidden alcove. And there, nestled in the shadows, was the archway. It pulsed with a faint light, a beacon in the encroaching darkness. He rushed towards it, his heart pounding with a mixture of hope and fear. As he reached for the key, a phantom appeared before him. It was the clearest phantom he had seen yet, its face almost recognizable. It spoke to him in a voice that was both familiar and alien, telling him the truth about the key, the archway, and the worlds he had traveled between. The phantom revealed that the key was not a key to other worlds, but a key to his own mind. The archway was a doorway to his memories, his dreams, his fears. Ethel was not a real place, but a manifestation of his deepest desires, a world he had created to escape the pain of his reality. The crumbling world he was trapped in was not a separate reality, but a reflection of his fracturing mind. His memories were not fading, but being erased by his own subconscious, a defense mechanism against a truth he couldn't bear. The phantom faded away, leaving Daniel alone with the revelation. Section 10. The Choice. Daniel stood before the archway, the key heavy in his hand. He understood now. The key was not a key to escape, but a key to acceptance. He could choose to step through the archway, to embrace the comforting illusion of Ethel, to lose himself completely in a world of his own making. Or he could choose to stay, to face the crumbling reality of his own mind, to confront the truth he had been running from. He knew that staying would be painful, that it might break him completely. But he also knew that it was the only way to reclaim himself, to find peace in the ruins of his own mind. He looked at the key, the intricate carvings shimmering in the dim light. He made his choice. He turned away from the archway and stepped back into the crumbling world. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew that he would face it, whatever it might be.